Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we are going to be waterproofing the 4 foot by 6 foot walk-in shower in the master bathroom. Let me give you all a quick little status update on how the waterproofing strips are going. So I've been working mostly on the niches, but kind of filling in around other places as well while I've been waiting for certain things to dry. So in both of the niches, I have, four inside corners, and then around the outside, you have 4 outside corners. So every niche has 8 corners total. So I've done a 16 total of the corners, and I just put in those pre-molded corners. And I let those set up for a little bit because it's a lot easier to come in and then add the edge strips that fill in all the seams that go all the way around after the corners have kind of set up some. Either they're completely dry or they're dry enough that they're not going to move around when you try and smear the new thin set on for the next strips. So the last thing I need to do to finish out the niches, so this niche right here is completely done. So this one's waterproofed, all 8 corners and then all 8 edges as well, because you have the 4 outside seams and then the 4 inside seams. I have to do the same thing for this one. So I also have to waterproof this short seam, long seam, and my corners kind of overlap. So those kind of top seams that run that way have already been covered. So I'm just missing kind of 4 small strips in order to finish this second niche. And then after that, I'm going to run down and I'm going to start putting the corners in the bottom of the shower pan. So once again, I'm going to have 4 inside corners. I'm also going to have 4 outside corners that go over these corners of the curb. So I have another 8 corners to install, and once I get those in, I'll let that kind of set up. I want to get those corners in first, so then when I go through and I tape these seams, that the seams will overlay the corners, especially these ones here that run vertically. So my seam tape that will go down this corner right here, it will come over the top of the inside corner that I install, and that'll keep the water from getting behind that inside corner in any way, shape, or form. So I guess I can show you kind of what these things look like. And this is why I like these products right here are why I use the Schluter-Curdy waterproofing tape. It's specifically because I like these pre-molded corners. Showers really tend to leak. Corners are your worst place for leaking. So having these pre-molded corners I think is extremely helpful. So this is just like a felt sheet, but it has a layer of plastic. So it has felt on the back, felt on the front, and in between those two pieces of felt, it is a layer of waterproof plastic. And this has been pre-molded So it will fit right into that corner like that. So I smear thin set. I'll smear thin set on the wall and on the shower pan, and then I'll slide this into the thin set and I'll press it down tight. And once that corner is set like that, my folded corner here will overlay on top of that corner, so no water running down this corner can sneak behind that pre-molded piece. So I like to do the corners first. So I'm going to put the 4 corners in, and then probably the 4 outside corners in, and then I'll start working on the seams around the shower pan. And let me just show you how the inside and outside corners are going to work together all around the curb. So right here on the curb, we have the inside corner where the curb meets the shower pan. I have this outside corner that hugs this wall, and you'll note here, or maybe you can't tell, but I had to shorten these legs. So I had to cut these legs off. It would have gone down through the floor, but I had to shorten this outside corner, but it all kind of overlaps like that. And then finally, we have this one last outside corner, which will fit in over the top of that one. So we'll have all 3 of those corners will be waterproofed by those pre-molded outside corners. So it's hard for me to stand far enough back to be able to get the whole thing on camera in this bathroom, but I am finally done with all of the thin set portion. So as of right now, once all this thin set sets up, I am ready to start applying the liquid waterproofing membrane. So I got these seals around the shower arms. So I got the final shower arms installed, and I got these seals that go around the shower arms, done on both sides. This is going to be a dual head shower. We got this last seam all done, so all this seam that wraps around the outside to this wall, and I did put a really thin kind of skim coat all along there to try and level out the difference in height from where the drywall sticks out a little bit further this way. So I have all that installed. I got all of the waterproofing membrane done, or the waterproofing tape done around the curb. All the corners, all the seams, everything is done. Just a little smear of thin set over all the screw holes. So I'll let this thin set dry up overnight, and then tomorrow we can put our first application of the liquid waterproofing membrane over the entire shower. So one thing I remember from doing the hall shower was that your thin set is not as smooth as you think it is. So before doing the liquid waterproofing membrane, I went ahead and ran over all the seams with a knife and a brush to try and just scrape off any of the loose bits. It made a huge mess, so I tried my best to vacuum it up as clean as I can. But I have it all scraped down, I have it all brushed down. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up a ladder, and we're gonna start with the waterproofing membrane, and we are gonna work from the top down. So here is one coat on. I think in the hall bathroom, I did 3 coats. We're definitely gonna do at least 2, maybe 3 if I have enough product. So I'm gonna get after it, put another coat on today. So the first coat has dried overnight. Moving on to my second coat. Yesterday I did it with a 6-inch roller. It took forever. So I'm gonna move up to a 9-inch roller. And then yesterday I was using foam disposable brushes, and they were falling apart and leaving bits all over the place. So I am gonna go to a disposable bristle brush today and see if that works a little bit better. So here is 2 coats on, and it's looking really good. I do not have enough Red Guard left over to do an entire third coat, but I'm going to do as much as I can. So I'll just use all the rest of this up, and I'm just going to focus on the lower portion of the shower where it'll get wet the most. Definitely want to do 1/3 coat in the bottom corners around all the edges of the shower pan. So I hit the leak-prone areas one last time. So bottom corner all around the edge of the shower pan, across the top of the curb, in the bottoms of the niches, got one more coat. Those two inside corners in there, and then I just put the rest of the material I had kind of low around the wall until I ran out. So not enough to do a full third coat. I don't think it's really necessary. We did get a nice third coat on anywhere or all the low spots or any of the places that I'm most worried about. So we are done with the waterproofing membrane. So what I have to do left before we're ready for tile is I have a trim piece, which is going to go up along the edge of this. I thought I had the boards for that. I do not, so I have to go to the store and buy some boards. Just like I did in the hall bathroom, my trim boards, which I'm going to put on the edge of this tile, I'm using PVC, so it cannot rot if it gets wet. So I have a couple PVC boards that I have to do, and that's just going to hide this gap from where I had to fur out the wall to match the shower pan. So I have you can see a little bit of where I had to fur out the wall here, and then the backer board right here. Well, that leaves me with about 7/8 of an inch to an inch of stick out. So I'm going to put a board that will actually stick out further than this tile. So when the tile gets installed, it can butt up right up against that board. So I have to install that. And then once this last coat of waterproofing membrane dries, I will test my shower pan. So I got a test plug, I will throw it in there, and I will fill the whole shower pan up with 4 or 5 inches of water, and we'll let it sit overnight and make sure that there are no leaks in the shower pan, and we'll do all that before we install tile. Okay, I was actually ready to test my shower pan a couple days ago, but I quickly discovered that I was going to be unable to do it. So this was something that set me back a couple days. So if you're watching this, please learn from this mistake from me. But this is the rubber test plug, the inflatable test plug that I'm going to use to test my shower pan. And this, you set it down inside the drain, and then you pump it up with a bicycle pump or an air compressor of some kind, and then that's what you use to seal off the drain from the shower pan, and then you can fill the shower pan up with water. So this needs to sit at least a few inches down inside the pipe, but every bike pump I've ever owned has a head that looks like that. So if this is sitting down inside the pipe, how can I ever get this on that? Well, you can't. And I've never owned a bike pump that doesn't look like this. So what I had to order was a Schrader valve extension hose, this is kind of what they come in. I could not find them in the store at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. I ended up having to order one online, and it took it a couple days. So bummer, I would have been able to test my shower pan 2 days ago, but I've been waiting on just this silly thing, which cost all of like $6 off of Amazon. So I'm just looking at it here for the first time. If I take the valve stem cap off, that looks fine. It looks like it has a valve here and a valve here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the Schrader valve from right here. So I'm going to remove the valve guts from this one, and I will just use the Schrader valve that is built into the hose, so that can come out. So we'll take that, we'll screw that on. Well, that actually looks like That's designed to depress that Schrader valve, but there is a Schrader valve right here. So instead of having it so that when I removed this, I would trap that pressure in there, I don't think I'd be able to drain it. I'm going to remove that Schrader valve. I think that's a better idea. So I'm going to screw that onto there. Let's give it a quick test and make sure it pumps up. And I did pump it up, and it did trap that pressure. So it did trap that pressure in that thing. So I'll pull it out of my bike pump. Pull it out of my bike pump. Still has pressure on it. You would get your Schrader valve tool, little removal tool that came with the plug, and I can bleed that pressure off. And I'm back to just the test plug. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. I'm going to have to do that half a dozen more times. Okay, so it is full of water, and what I've done is I have added a mark on the curb, so it's about halfway up the curb, and I put a black mark right at the surface of that water level. So it is currently, if I take a look, it is currently 9:13 p.m. I will let that sit overnight, at least 12 hours, but I'll check it in the morning and see if we have lost any water level. Hopefully this thing just sits out static, doesn't lose any at all overnight. And if everything looks good tomorrow, I will pull that plug and we are ready for tile. It is 11:15 the next day, so it has been over 14 hours and we are still good. So I'm gonna go ahead and call that a good test. I know a lot of places you have to run that for 24 hours. I'm in a no permitting outside of city limits zone, so I'm just gonna say 14 hours is good enough. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull that Schrader valve out of that hose and pull that test plug out of the drain. Well, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Coming up on the channel, we will get this shower tiled. We have a lot of trim still to do, so trim, caulk paint, crown molding in the living room and the kitchen. I got some floating shelves to do in the kitchen, but we're getting really, really close to getting this house into a near complete state. I understand it'll never be finished, but into a near complete state. Really excited with how things are turning out, so I will see y'all next time.